At this time, we're going to have our mission team that has been to Honduras come and report on all that they did. So, Jake, I'll turn it over to you.
All that we did is gonna not really work out too good. Normally, we do this on a Wednesday or Sunday evening. We have an hour and a half to answer everybody's questions. So we're gonna try to squeeze it into about 20, 25 minutes or so. It's gonna be laid back, casual. If you got a question, raise your hand. If you see a picture you like, we can stop it and answer any questions you guys have. I'm just going to talk for a little while. We're going to try to get you guys to lunch at a reasonable time today. And then we're going to have Blair come up and kind of talk to us about the construction jobs that we did. And then we'll have anybody else that wants to come up and talk about what they, really got out of Honduras. Grace is in Lynchburg today, kind of doing the same thing. She's talking to a church in Lynchburg about Honduras, and she was sorry she committed to this date already with those people, so you'll have to do without her today. She was just an absolute delight. She speaks Spanish, so she was our translator along with Natalie, the preacher's son down there. And everywhere Grace goes, she makes friends. And everybody tells me that she has like the perfect accent. Like they think she's a native speaker. And they just cannot believe that she's from America. And she's like, yes, I am. I promise. And so almost every time we get done with the day, we're looking for Grace because she's with a new friend that she's found and inviting somebody. I was going to talk about the connections that we made while we were there. And Grace really should be doing this because she made more connections than anybody. We got to have a nice meal on Saturday at a place called the Conqueror. El Conquistador, thank you. And in the Valley of Angels, a sort of little shopping area. It was one of the one day we had off on Saturday, and this little boy came around to sell some fruit and candy to our table. And, I think I bought a little bit of candy and then sent him on his way. And a few minutes later, I looked down the table, and Grace has him a spot at the table, has all this food in front of him, and this little kid's just smiling, eating like a king. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? I should have said that. Our bus driver this time, we were kind of nervous because we've had the same bus driver the last couple of years named Leo. And this guy, Ramon, was amazing. Like, he took such good care of us. He was by our side the whole time. He could have sat in the air-conditioned van and just slept because he works at night also. He drops us off and then shuttles people from the airport all night. And instead of sleeping, he got in there pickaxing, doing concrete, buckets of sand, buckets of gravel. That's what we did a lot of, is making concrete. He was just a blessing to have. Of course, getting to see Eddie and his family. This was my 4th year to go. So I've got to see these little girls grow up, from, 12 years old to 16. That's a big age difference in a girl. I have 3 of them, and I know very well that girls change a little bit in that time. And to see them go from having a house made of dirt with mud floors to now a stone house that's secure, that they can actually put things in and nobody can break them apart and take that stuff, it's just such a great feeling. But he does so much, him and Teresa do so much for their community. Like, you could tell that they're the go-to people in that whole area, from getting this fixed to getting this built. We sent a lot of the money down ahead of time to make sure we had supplies. And of course, Eddie and his people at the church did most of the work before we even got there. That's just the kind of guy that he is. And Teresa, she makes food. Thanks to the money that we send every Sunday, she makes food for the children there. And they've been doing it for several months now on Sundays. And the church went from like 30 kids to like 100 kids. I mean, not only do they get to sing and have a nice classroom that we've helped build, 2 classrooms, but now they get fed while they're there. And most of them only have beans and tortillas. Like that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, you know, my kids get mad if we have leftovers, and they're eating the same thing every single time. So when they get spaghetti or something, it's a big treat for them. And I'm grateful for you guys for providing that. Also, this year we got to stay at the home of Michael. She is like the second in charge of breaking chains. They're the ones that coordinate everything for us. And for the last 3 years and more, we've been staying at the Baxter Institute. It's a big guarded, facility. It's a university. They teach people a lot of medicine there, along with singing and theology. So I was kind of nervous taking a group down and not being in this barricaded place, but it was amazing. Like, we got to stay in their house. It was very nice, plenty of room for all of us. And it was on a very nice part of town. Like, the Mexican embassy was there and several other things. There was a security guard on the street. We never, felt unsafe. And it was really nice because we got to be there with her and her husband. Her husband has built, I want to say 500 homes since he's been down there. Like, while we were there, I come in, I'm like, oh yeah, we poured a porch today and we did this today. He's like, yeah, I built 3 houses. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go downstairs and relax now. Yeah. He had a lot of help, yeah. Because there was several groups a lot bigger than ours that went down there. But getting to see his family, he's got, 5 kids, and they're just really busy. His wife was extremely pregnant, and they put up with us the whole time that we were there. It was just a really good treat to get to have people to come home to and talk to about our day. The people in the congregation, they were just so happy to see us again, like, coming up to us, giving us a hug, so thankful for whatever we've done. Some people we've built houses for, some people we've fixed houses for, and they put forth a lot of effort at the church, cleaning it, getting it ready. We got to meet a lady named Bilma, her and her son. Her son had a broke leg. He's mentally handicapped, probably 30 years old. And one morning he just got up and went out to the street at 3 a.m. and got hit by a motorcycle. So, Jared went to look at him to see what he could do help-wise, and looked at the x-rays, and they determined that he was going to need a surgery. So, we prayed about it for a while, somehow gathered up the money to give him for his surgery. And as of yesterday, he still hasn't received this surgery. He's gone to 3 different hospitals, and there's not very many there, but 3 different hospitals with the money, and he's still unable to get in. They're talking about months before he'll be able to actually get in to have the surgery that was supposed to be done a couple weeks ago. So the mother has been in contact with Eddie nearly every day, because I'm in contact with him, like, what's going on with this guy? When are we going to get him fixed? And, they're just trying still to get him fixed. The look on her face, though, when she realized she was going to get to help her son, was just shock and awe and utter appreciation. And I'm just grateful that you all got to help us with that. Jacobo and Edwin are the 2 elders that are there. They help Eddie on all their times off. They're at the church. They're pickaxing. They're doing concrete work. They're going to other people's houses, fixing those houses. And it's just amazing to see this one guy goes there to start this church, and now all the other men in the church are coming on board. And they're, it was mostly women at the congregation. And now you see men at the congregation. You see them helping out, giving up a day of work to come there. One of the guys' name was Jonathan. He was a guy that was, he said he didn't go to church very often. He had visited the church a few times, and he was in the back of a truck and it got flipped. And he ended up having a reconstructive surgery and pins and plates. Eddie said he has nails in his leg, lots of nails. And we went to his house and was able to do some work for him. But Eddie said that since that's happened and Eddie went to his house to pray with him, that he's shown up every Sunday and he's been there. They've had, I want to say 8 baptisms here recently. The church is growing by leaps and bounds. That's right. Also, Jimmy Lawn, they support 2 boys at Hoviness. And when we went to Hoviness, we just had the best time. There are all these boys that I've been seeing over the years. We didn't get to go last year, but these boys are all grown up now. And it's just a boys' home, and they have over 100 kids there. And, you know, one of the kids doesn't have legs, and they built him a bicycle that he can ride with his hands, and he's just doing like wheelies and tricks and everything. It was just impressive to see the ingenuity and see how much fun they were having there. We got out there to play soccer, and they've got a full Olympic-sized soccer field, and I'm somewhat running a little bit, and one of the kids felt sorry for me. He's like, "Hey, stop the game, stop the game." They bring over this another goal, and they shorten the field by like halfway. And I'm like, "Thank you so much, I appreciate that." And then they still end up putting me in goalie. So they were like, "Just go back there and block the Flacco skinny." Yeah. Pass it to Flacco. But we had such a good time with these kids, such a good time with Eddie and his family. Eddie didn't want to ask if we had raised the money. I told him and his family, you know, we may be able to raise the money for you to go on a vacation to see your family. I know it's been forever since you've done that. And he didn't want to ask. And, you know, finally they hee-hawed around about it. I'm like, "Yes, we got it." And just the joy, just to know that they were going to get to go see their family in Guatemala. And since then, they did. They almost left immediately after we did. They got to spend a week with their family. All the reports were great. His brother's health is doing a little bit better, and he's got a couple other brothers and sisters there that he got to see. And I'm just very grateful that you guys helped us out with that. The idea for the future, like Eddie always has all these ideas that he wants to do. He's connected the 2 classrooms that we built previously with an office. So I thought we were going to have to go there and build the office, but he already had it built. All we had to do was the floors. But his intentions are to build a steeple on top of that office. So from the road, it'll actually look like a church. Right now, it's just a square building, but if this happens, it'll be a square building with this nice steeple behind it, and it'll overlook everything. And I'm very excited about getting that done. He also wants to build some bathrooms there at some point, you know, girls and boys bathroom, because there's so many kids there, and it's such a long walk to the bathroom. They do have somewhat of a facility there, but it's not the best, as my girls will attest to. I'm going to turn it over to you, Blair, let you talk about whatever, and then if you guys want to come up afterwards, you're welcome. Would you say it was 10 minutes, Matthew? Let's watch it now. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
So I took pages and pages and pages and pages of notes because I wanted to make sure I remembered everything. I will share all those with you guys. I'll make it to make sense, and I'll put an outline together so you guys can see like what day 1 looked like, what day 2 looked like. But what I'm going to do today is just tell you rough overview of kind of what construction looked like for us. If you've never done it before, hand mixing concrete is not fun. It requires, when we were working concrete, my first introduction to our church in the mountains of Choite was walking up and all of these women in clean clothes with washed hair. They got their shoes? Awesome. And these women had buckets of water. You get your water from one location. You go across, you're inside the church, concrete floors. They brought their brooms from home and soap from home, and they were cleaning the concrete floors as we were mixing concrete right outside. And those women left clean. I never could understand like how they had white socks on that were spotless in the red dirt, and they had cleaned this building while we're mixing concrete and getting concrete dust right next door. Impossible work ethic. There were impossibly small boys, like tiny little fellas that looked so young that were hauling concrete with us. Do you remember the little boys with the stick? There were two little guys that were like this big. We give them a 5-gallon bucket full of concrete, and they take a stick and run it between it and carry it between the two of them. That was good. There's Noah. They leveled the concrete by hand, little by little, bucket by bucket. So we worked at the church. We went to a family's home and worked on concrete floors there. That was another day of flooring and concrete. But the biggest impact I think our church had was electricity. So electricity only went a little bit further than the church on the road. So we sent and provided money and equipment for them to put in telephone poles, electricity poles, and all of the wiring to connect. So there's one family in this corner of the mountains now that has electricity, and there's a community all around them. So Eddie did all that, brought everything in, but now there's more wiring. So now electricity is just a connection away for the rest of us people. So we talked about, to us and our kids, what does electricity mean? Like, what does that mean? What is one light bulb and electrical outlet? You know, what is that? To us, that's super inconvenient, but to them, it's going to be life-changing. It's going to be life-changing for them. Also, a lot of families have these big dome clay bread makers, and that's where they produce a lot of their food. So we built construction over those metal roofs to help protect them from breaking down, because they're a lot to build and it's laborious and a part of their livelihood. So we built metal constructions over those to prevent them from breaking down in the weather, and also prevent, when it rains, the heat from fluctuating in there. I don't know. We did a lot of that. We did a lot of concrete, a lot of digging, but I don't know. Anything else? Is there any questions about construction? Because it was hot. Yeah, that's the bread maker. That's inside the church after the ladies cleaned it. That was on the way to, what was her name? Vilma's home. That was my favorite picture. That was Grace the whole time. She was a rock star. She was amazing. You can talk about the food bags too. Jared, you want to come up to the top?
Back it up just a few frames, please, sir. Yes, sir. Right there, if you'll pause right there. So this is the office between the two classrooms that we've already built, and he wanted to bring this up over the bridge from the front of the church and build another room here with a steeple on top. So from the back, it'll look like a church, and build some steps in here. So you see, he's already got it ready to have another block put on top of it. Right now, you just have to walk up and get on it that way. But he's preparing for the future, and hopes that we can get enough block and sand and everything to build it up one more layer. Right here is the shed that he moved from down the hill. This whole shed was down at the bottom of the hill. And they deconstructed it, poured a new concrete pad, and moved the whole shed over. Yes. Yeah. They have somebody that stays the night there every night, you know, to make sure that the church is good.
Just a reminder to everybody, I know we talked about Eddie Joel and stuff. Before Eddie was your dog, playing preaching full time, he was in construction. That's why I call that Eddie Joel. He was a contractor.
Contractor and went to school for structural engineering there.
Preached on the side. Now he's just
That's the electrical that Eddie installed before we got there. So this way, a couple light switches, a couple outlets. This is one of the people's houses that we did the concrete patio for. And these bread makers are what almost all these people make their money off of. They cook the bread during the day, and then they either drive to the most populated part downtown, or down the hill, I should say, and they sell their bread. You know, people that make good bread, they make a decent living. But that's their main source of revenue for their houses, is bread. This is where we went to make all the food bags. We gave out food to the congregation. Over 50 families, you know, got food thanks to you guys. They have metal chairs. Yeah, they've been sitting on blocks and buckets, and you know, blocks with a 2x4 under between it. And you know, Eddie's taken whatever extra money he's had and bought a couple chairs at a time until now they have quite a few chairs in the church. And I asked if, you know, we could put a bench in or something more permanent. And they said they're just too dusty and dirty. They're always trying to sweep it out and push brooms or, you know, sweep it out. And it wouldn't be feasible. The metal chairs work a lot better. Jared, they named him King of the Dogs down there because every single dog we came across, they would be all skin and bones. And Jared's pulling beef jerky out of his pockets and whatever, saving the bones from everywhere. And he just was followed by a parade of dogs in town. If you come across a family, him and his two daughters have yeah. He asked me if it could be a slideshow or a video. Sure.
Me and Ramon actually spent quite a bit of time talking as best we could via Google Translate. He didn't speak a lick of English. I didn't speak a lick of Spanish, but he would pick us up in the mornings, and while everyone else was getting together, I'd spend time talking with him. Sometimes when they were playing soccer or whatever, I would sit with Ramon and just talk as best we could about whatever we could manage through the app. But he was very excited to be able to talk to me about stuff and vice versa, so I could learn. I wanted to start off, and this is so you can kind of get, and hopefully, if at least a tenth of the population of this country has the ethics of Ramon, then you'll be able to hear the struggle that is going on in that country. Starting off, to be referenced later, the economy, fast food, gas, groceries cost exactly the same as it does over here. A number one at McDonald's is still $5. Okay, you go to Walmart, everything there still costs the same as it does here. And I'll tell you the importance of that here towards the end. But Ramon, he was, like he said, he was our driver. The only thing that we paid him to do was to drive. He could have showed up in probably lesser clothes that he did, but he came dressed very nice every morning, very clean, usually pants, work boots, polo shirt, same time every day, stayed with us all day until we said, okay, we're done. He would be right there with us, but he was a lot more than a driver. Like I said, he dressed very professionally. The traffic over there would make you all cry if you had to drive in 10 seconds of it. The insanity that is traffic, no laws, it's pretty much good luck. Cross your fingers, say your prayers. But he was a great driver. But in addition to that, he kept us very safe. I don't think I noticed any time where the kids were like, oh, we're in a bad place. Because from all the gunshots I heard at nighttime, I could tell there are quite a bit of bad places in the area that we were at. But I could tell, and just from talking to him, he intentionally kept us out of those places, as far away from those places as possible. And every time we'd stop, I could tell that he was monitoring the situation, making sure that we were always safe. And that's huge to me, being a father and my entire family being there. An extra set of eyes from a local was just priceless. And as far as, like Jake said, the work that he did when we were on the sites, he outworked me. I give myself a little credit and say 10 to 1. It was probably more like 100 to 1. But he didn't have to do any of that stuff. We paid him just to drive the bus. But because of his work ethics, dressed well, worked incredibly hard. And like Jake said, after he got done with us, he kept working somewhere else. Like I said, we had several conversations via the translator about his family. He's got a wife and kids. The economy, which is just horrible. The government, which is run by the cartels. And I asked him, towards the end, I said, where are you working tomorrow? Today's your last day with us. What are you doing tomorrow? He's like, I don't have work tomorrow. I said, what do you mean you don't have work tomorrow? He's like, I don't have work set up. It's extremely hard to make an honest wage, and that's a key word, honest wage down there. I mean, when you have cartels willing to pay you to do illegal things and everything else, he wants to make an honest wage for his family, and it's very tough. You can actually look on my Facebook page and search my friends and find Ramon and see his attitude, just always smiling, his family, his home, which is extremely modest. They cook over a fire like most of the people there do. But a very modest home, beautiful family, but he's always just very cheerful. And when you think about, the work situation, if you apply that to us, we'd probably all be just a wreck, having to worry about where the money's going to come from. But his faith was extremely evident when we went to visit the guy with the broken leg and listened to her plight. He was there with us, and he actually gave half of a day's wages to the woman to help out, which I thought was just ridiculous. But, that's his faith. that God was going to help heal this poor man. And also his involvement on Sunday's worship, you could tell just by his involvement. He went to a church in the capital city where he lived. He pointed it out to me, as well as his place. Anyways, just a really great guy. Spent a lot of time with him. Now, knowing all that, I want you to think back to the economy. $5 for a number one at McDonald's. We paid him $10 a day. That's what he made from us as his wage, $10 a day. He worked 12, 13, sometimes 10 hours, but basically about $1 an hour. Things still cost $5 for a number one at McDonald's. After working for us for 12 hours, he could go buy 2 of those and be broke. Okay? So when you apply that to the mass of that population, you can kind of see why it is in such shambles. Everyone is working so hard just for flour and beans, So, when I wake up in the morning and I don't want to go to work, I need a break. I don't get paid enough. I think about, my Christian brother, my friend Ramon, down there in the Honduras, who prays every night that he'll have work the next day to make $10 and work all day long. And when he does get that job, he's very excited to be able to have that job. So I try to think about him and his situation and like, man, I've got it extremely easy here in the United States. And really, that was all just, it's a crapshoot. We were all extremely blessed that God chose to allow us to be here in the U.S. I mean, we could have been born anywhere else and have to live every day like that. And just one last thing. Yes, ma'am. Well, I mean, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt because I only know just a pinch of what goes on over there, but it makes me very grateful for everything that I have. I mean, just trying to put myself in his shoes for one day would just be exhausting. Just trying to feed your family on that kind of money. And we're like, oh, you messed up my food at the restaurant. I want to talk to the manager. And like, we're making mountains out of molehills, and they're eating tortillas and beans and plantains 3 times a day, every day, because that's all they can afford. But I'll finish up. But I am keeping in contact with Ramon. The last thing that I told him before we left was, I'll see you in the United States as soon as possible. I'm working with him to try and get him his work visa to come over here, make money, send back to his family, do it legally, honestly. And when he gets here, he's going to, once again, put me to shame work-wise. And he'll do right by his family, our God, and everyone else involved. So thank you for your time.
Yes, please. So this is Eddie back here, his oldest daughter and his youngest daughter. And this is her niece, and she's been with us. Her name's Natalie also. She's been with us now for the last 3 years. She's a little older than Sasha. Got with this little girl. And we always invite her to everything, and she's been in our bus the whole time. And I've never met her mom. I've met her aunt who will walk her out to the bus. And when we got ready to leave and we were at the airport, her mom showed up and, pulled me to the side and was like, I just want you to know how appreciative I am that you've taken my daughter in and that you've cared for her, and she knows that you guys love her. You've taken good care of her. And she just started crying at the airport, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I love you. Like, I wish you could have came with us too. But this little girl, is speaking English now, and she's going to be the next in line to translate. It's just nice to see that they all want to be a part of this, and they all want to help us help their community. And Eddie's wife, Teresa, may be in another photo, but we got to go there and eat with her. And we went to Walmart. We normally buy shoes for all the kids. We said, this time we're taking Teresa, so we know what sizes we need to get. And we got there, and the only shoes available were way too expensive. So she said, there's a place that's kind of a sketchy part of town that I can go and get shoes for really cheap. If you guys just want to do that, I'll make sure to do that for you. And so we gave her the money, and as you can see from the picture, she got everybody shoes and sent them here. And Natalie just messaged me on Facebook saying that this guy, David, did get his surgery, and he's in a cast now, and he's got 3 months to recover. And his mom thanks us and thanks God for that. So that was like right on time. Do you guys want to say anything before we close?
Oh, yeah.
Grace slept, and we left on the bus like 3 times because he was in the back asleep, and we
Yeah.
just got, and then we had to call and then get him back up because he was asleep on the bus.
But I get it. They're long bus rides.
Yep.
They're retiring. I understand. But so this is my second time going, and we got to do a lot of stuff that we didn't get to do last year. We did a lot of the same stuff, but we did a lot of different stuff. One of my favorite things that we got to do was we got to go feed the homeless and feed the people of the city. And we were with another group that we met before. They're from Oklahoma, and they're from Breaking Chains. And they were a big group. They had several people in their group. And basically, they told us that there was only about 5 jobs that people had. And everybody else just got to hang out and talk to people. Well, me and Noah actually got to get in the back of the truck, and we got to scoop the food and give it to the people, which was just so heartwarming. It was my favorite. We got to see similar faces. People would come back for seconds and thirds, and it was just awesome to be able to, share that with them. And that was probably one of my favorite things. We also got to go to this festival, which was really awesome. They were having this huge festival at, the school? And there were these dancers, and they came out from they represented all these countries. And it was just awesome to see, everybody was there. They were all having, a great time. And it was just awesome to see all these, countries being, showed through dance. It was just, one of my favorite things. It was awesome.
Yeah, so this is my first year going. I definitely think one thing that I didn't expect, but I should have, was the culture shock is so severe. It's crazy. And it definitely gives you a different perspective, coming back to the US, like Dad was saying, how it just makes you put your whole daily life in perspective, and it makes you so much more thankful. It was such a great experience, a really good opportunity. I'm really thankful that our church is able to do that. I know plenty of places wish that they could, and I really am just glad that we're able to do this. And it was an amazing experience, definitely an unforgettable one. Your first year especially, I think it'll be it's very distinct, how much it affects me and just everyone, just everywhere, how crazy it is what God can do across oceans. It's crazy. But yeah, it was definitely a great experience, and I look forward to going in the future, maybe next year, any possible year that are available.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you again to everybody that gave us the opportunity to go. one of my favorite things also that I forgot to mention is when you go down there, you'll post pictures, you'll take pictures and you'll send it to your friends or something like that. And people will always ask you, they're like, oh, that looks so beautiful. Like, what an amazing vacation. Like, why are you down there? And my favorite thing is that I get to tell them while I'm down there. And I get to tell them that it's not me that's doing all this hard work. It's God working through me, and that He can do the same for you. And it's just awesome to see people's reactions. And I'm like, yeah, it is beautiful. It is amazing to be down here. You're unplugged from all of your responsibilities at home, and you just get to be there with, God and with all these new people. And you get to tell them, God's working through me. And, you have these opportunities too. Maybe not in Honduras, but wherever you're called to be, you can serve anywhere. So I just want to thank everybody in this church for giving us this opportunity. Thank you for my dad. He always came home like the first years, and like he would like show us all the pictures. Like from then on, I was like, I want to go. Like I felt called to go, and so thank you for everything.
All right, so we kept our 20 minutes to an hour. I appreciate you guys sticking with us. I'm just going to close in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for these people's patience and staying with us, even though we're hungry, and learning more about Honduras, learning more about what we do as a church. We're just thankful for all the blessings that we have here in this country. We pray for the congregation down there and for Eddie and Teresa and their family. We just pray for their health. We pray for their well-being. We pray that they continue to be a light in that part of the world. Lord, I just ask that we can raise money again this year so that we can do even more next year. I know that you'll provide everything that we need, Lord, and I'm thankful for that. Lord, as we go out into the week, I just ask that we try to remember you, Lord, that we try to be you to the rest of the world. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.